.com was invented. It's the Flying Pigskin Show, and it's available only on WCPO.com. With Chris Riva, I'm Ken Brew. Hello, Chris.
It's good to see you, sir. How are you doing?
Oh, it's wonderful. They're 3-0. Who would have thought that? Nobody out there would have thought that.
I think it's outstanding, don't you think?
Yeah. I think the thing that's amazing about this team right now is that they're banged up at certain positions. They're working through injuries, but more important, it looks like they're having fun. I mean, it just looks like it's fun.
It has a different feeling, does it not? Mm-hmm. For decades, really, to be quite honest with you. And everybody knows in the NFL, you're only as good as how you overcome injuries, because everybody's going to be hurt at some point. And boy, when you talk about next guy up, it's just getting done right now with this football team.
Yeah, and Dalton doesn't seem to be forcing anything. He seems to be letting the game come to him. And because of that, I think he's a completely different quarterback than he was even a year ago.
Does he have to at this point?
He does not.
You know?
He does not. I mean, when you surround him with what he has, all you're basically telling him to do is just make sure you don't do anything that gets us beat.
23 pass attempts yesterday. 15 to 23, 169 with the interception really wasn't his fault.
Yeah, and look at Ralph.
And one touchdown where he caught one.
Yeah, look at Ralph, or whatever his name was, the quarterback from Tennessee. 17 of 34, $188, 2 interceptions. So, I mean, their numbers in terms of completion percentage, Dalton's better, but, I mean, nobody's throwing the ball around a lot, but he threw it away twice.
And, here's what the deal was. Yesterday, I kind of described it as a slow bleed. They just kind of continuously kept cutting Tennessee, and the next thing you know, they're dominating the first half, a couple of missed field goals. They've really dominated every quarter of play that they've played this year. They have been in control of it.
You can join in on Twitter, of course. It's the hashtag, the Flying Pigskin, and then on Facebook. A lot of ways for you to join in today, to join the conversation. David Fulcher is going to join us, the former Bengal. He's going to join us here in a little bit. We're going to go to Nashville. Yes, going to go to Nashville, talk to a television reporter down there. Mr. Satin will be in. We'll have a lot to talk about here in the next hour. But the biggest thing right now is, Chris, is they're 3-0. They get a week off. Then the meat of the schedule begins. Then they go to New England.
To get to this bye, it was a test, right, to see how you are to start the season. You had one tough, I believe, road game in Baltimore, and then you come back for home for 2. Now you're going to get to see what the next test, how good. I mean, you're going to, obviously, New England right out of this bye. You're going to get a test over the next 3 weeks of facing some very good football teams, including the Indianapolis Colts.
Couple of things about this defense. First of all, they lose Michael Johnson. They don't lose a beat. They put their money on Carlos Dunlap. That was a good horse to bet on. This guy is worth the dough. And the secondary, despite having some guys back there that are kind of old, kind of aging, they look like the Adam Jones and Terrence Newman and Leon Hall look like they found the fountain of youth.
And it's fun. Kilpatrick and their new top draft pick as well. They can't find spots on the field for them hardly enough to get these high draft picks in there as well. So that means that they have depth at that position, a position that's critical.
Look at this guy. I mean, that's the new defensive coordinator, Paul Gunther. We have Johnny Bag of Donuts on the show. He looks like Johnny Bag of Donuts. I like Paul Gunther. I think he tries a lot of stuff, and if it works, he says, hey, let's try it out again. If it doesn't work, he says, who cares? We'll try something else next time.
The defense is winning the games.
The disembodied voice
of Matt Lukin,
of the brains of this operation.
We haven't heard yet and we haven't heard that Andy Dalton hasn't won a playoff game yet.
No. There we go. Matt,
the defense is winning the games.
For the sake of Matt, we have a lady.
Oh, that's right.
Libby.
We have a new addition to our backbench staff, Libby Duber. I apologize.
We don't know the names of your staff.
I didn't know her last name until today, and I was embarrassed when you asked me what her name was the last time.
I didn't mean to do that.
Yes.
And Strotman's still there, so
Strotman. Yes, Strotman spends every Sunday at PBS on the field, watching closely to give us, insight
and cheering along the way, no doubt.
Well, he's a professional. He's doing a job. He doesn't have to
pump, I assume.
What I like about, and now you're Libby, which is great, apparently coined this name. But what I like about that whole thing, we talked about the defense. What I like about it is they just look like they're having fun. Some of these teams, Chris, over the last 15, 20 years, it just looked painful. It looked like they didn't want to be there. Some of the fans didn't want. I didn't want to be there. But
talk about the dynamic between the two defensive coordinators this football team has had over the last couple of years now. And is it because of that tone change in the defensive coordinators that allows them to relax a little bit?
Could be. I mean, Zimmer always looked like he was ready to blow a gasket. I thought, this carotid artery that you have, I thought his was going to explode half the time. This guy looks like, hey, okay, I know what you can do, I know what you can. It's a different touch.
He's got a different approach, but the defense, you think it's a lot better than it was last year?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't think it's better.
I just think he's carried it, just continued what was already there.
Well, from a technical standpoint, what Zimmer would do is, front, same thing, front forward he might overload it to one side or the other, and then it was pretty, from that standpoint, basic. This guy, he's got players walking around. He might come at you with a corner blitz, a safety blitz. He's doing something different on every down, and I think whether or not it's better, I just think it's different. And sometimes it's just a different voice in your ear, you know?
And when you say it's something different, something that you can't necessarily study on tape.
Right.
Game in, game out, game in, game out, year in, year out with you. And believe me, I'm as big a fan of Zimmer as anybody.
Yeah.
With that said, I think the same thing for Hugh Jackson. I think the two coordinators are the best story of this football team to start this year.
Well, see, I think the difference between Jay Gruden, who I thought was good for this team, I think his time was to leave was when he left. But the difference is if like Jay Gruden got 10 toys for Christmas, he'd want to play with all 10 Christmas Day. You know, Jackson, he'll get 10 toys for Christmas. He'll play with 2 today, 3 tomorrow, 3 next week. He doesn't try to overwhelm anybody with it. And I think in that you've got a little bit of creativity.
I like what Hugh Jackson's doing with the offense. I was a big fan. I followed him when he was the head coach in Oakland. He is a very positive guy. Obviously, you got to know him a little bit through Hard Knocks from the fans here last year. He is a guy that I just believe gets things done.
Speaking of a new voice, we have a new voice on today's show.
Yes.
A member of the SWAT team from the 1988 Super Bowl team. David, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
David, I just left you 6 hours ago.
I know. I feel like you and I woke up.
David Fulcher, number 33 in your program. What do you think this defense is different, or is it just better, or what is it last year to this year?
Well, I don't think they're different. I think a lot of people think because Zimmer left that Gunther is bringing in a new ring of things. I just think that when you saw what they did last year, Gunther was right there in the middle of it. It's almost like the only difference is between the two guys aren't being here. And I think that the defense is very solid, and that these guys know exactly what their expectations are. And they're playing with an attitude. You got to play with an attitude when you play football. And those guys are doing it right now.
What is the thing that you think is their strength right now?
Oh, wow. Right now, I think they're strong all over the place, especially up front. The defensive lineman, I think, over the past years has always been, I think, one of their strongest points. But now it looks like they're collectively come along really well. Because the secondary's playing well. The linebackers have always played well. And you get pass rush. So, you know, when you put all that together, you got a great defense.
The defense, I was at the game yesterday, the defense just looked like they were in control. They were very comfortable with what they were doing.
As they have all year, Matty.
Right, I know. And it's just, I think they're getting more, their confidence is building, and it's nice to watch. Even when they had a couple of big plays on them, they didn't panic or anything. They took control of it.
I just don't feel like the front four gets pressure like they did in maybe last year and years past. I don't know why. It just doesn't seem like
you got to think.
You know?
You got to think too. It's 3 weeks of football. I mean, I don't know if there's any other defensive line in the league that has more than they have right now. But you know what? When you're 3-0, does it really matter?
Right. I totally agree with that.
And they're doing all this without Geno Atkins at 100%. Wait till he gets back full bore. Then I think you really might have something.
And without Vontaze.
And without Perfect. Without Perfect. David, how much do they miss Perfect? The short answer is not much yesterday, but long term, if he's not back and well, they're going to miss him, right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I think long term for him, very questionable because of his concussions that he's got so far. But, you know, Vinny Ray, you know, it looks like Ray Mallaliga is playing better football than he's played in a long time. But I do think that without having Perfect in there, could be a handicap to the team. But yesterday, having him on the sideline, you know, sometimes, you know, you could still be a coach and a good player if you're in the game and you're giving your guys the pat on the back. And yesterday, Burfict was right there patting his team on.
But with Burfict, he brings an attitude, a nastiness that every football team would love to have. Some would argue you brought to some of those football teams earlier. What does that do in the huddle when you have that guy on the field?
Well, you know you can go on the back alley.
Yes.
You got a guy that's got your back. And I think that's what Burfict brings to the team. And I said it earlier about attitude. You got to play football with an attitude. And I'm not talking about an attitude that, you know, you're upset with your coaches or you got this attitude of something real negative. You just got to play nasty. And I think Burfict brings that nastiness to the team, and it carries over. It carries over because those guys, when they see him doing the things that he does, it's going to be contagious. You know, I'll go back years and years ago when Tim Kermai was our nose tackle. Timmy would fight people. Timmy's nose would bleed. And when he get back in the huddle, you say to yourself, well, I don't want my nose to bleed, but I want to play like him. And I think guys on this football team are starting to follow that leadership from Burfict.
David, look, while I got you and you talk about playing with the nastiness, let's go back to the Andy Dalton catch for the touchdown. If you're the safety there, do you light him up or do you play the ball?
Well, just think about the way I played.
I thought he was a dead man.
I did too.
Oh my God! I was at the
I
game and he
was
reached
too.
up with both arms, and we all thought if it was a Bengal, we would have rather he just took the guy out. You know, if it was the other way around, take that shot and.
Can we just send some flowers or some candies to Tennessee right now and say thank you? Because I thought he was gone. I actually thought when I saw that corner break on the football that he was going to go through Andy and put Andy's heart in the back of his chest.
I'll make a prediction. We won't see that play again.
No, I think they might be done with that one.
Yeah. But I do like this. You know, I don't want to call them gadget plays, and Lewis didn't call them gadget plays after the game because he said, we've been working on this stuff since March. But I like the fact that they have those things in their repertoire, David, and I like the fact that I'm pretty sure that there are other things that we haven't seen yet. I think there's a lot of variations. I really and truly think that there's probably 10, 12 of those things that we're going to see before the year's out.
Well, you know, when our 88 team, we had a lot of things that we used to call Sam wicky-wacky because he would do a lot of stuff that the NFL wasn't ready for or other teams weren't ready for. You have to have something like that to keep a defensive team off balance. And not too many people throw, you know, the quarterback reverse pass and blah, blah, blah. But you got to have those things to keep teams balanced. And fortunate for us that it didn't cost us our quarterback. But, you know, that's football, man. If you don't keep them off balance, you know, you become predictable. And let's think about it. We used to be a predictable football team years ago. And then right now it's pretty nice. And when you're 3-0, it doesn't matter as long as you keep winning.
This football team right now, I believe, Sports Illustrated, maybe in ESPN, has ranked them in the power rankings now as the best in the NFL. Do you agree with that assessment?
Oh, I do. I think they're pretty good. I do. I think they are pretty solid. But, you know, it's always, you know, you could play well today and play bad tomorrow, and then all of a sudden you're back to what people think you are. And this football team needs to win when they get into the playoffs. All this stuff they're doing now is great, but if you don't win in the playoffs, none of this stuff matters.
This should come as a surprise to no one. David, of course, is the head football coach at Cincinnati Christian. He's also the assistant principal at Cincinnati Christian. And the assistant principal is the guy that's in charge of meting out discipline. So anybody that watched those teams in the late 80s and early 90s know that that's a perfect role for David Fulcher, who's on his way to work right now. David, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, my friend.
Hey, guys, thank you for having me.
There's a guy that revolutionized the position. Well, Ronnie Lott was there, but he was another one of those big guys that would step up and just light you up.
He was, the way he was built like a linebacker playing safety.
With speed, yeah.
And I don't know if that body type works in today's NFL, but in that NFL, it worked perfectly.
And
what
everybody tried to get that guy. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. And you're right, when he went to Oakland, things weren't all that great here. He goes to Oakland, and it's a completely different touch, and he found a whole new second life out in Oakland, too, which was kind of cool.
So what is your assessment of those power rankings? I know in this league you are what you are, and it doesn't matter until the end of the year.
You mean me?
Yeah.
I am what I am.
No, I'm talking about the NFL.
Oh.
In the NFL, you earn what you are.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's mind candy, but I also think it's kind of cool to see what these national guys think. Don Banks, who writes for Sports Illustrated, it was Chris Burke that did the story, but Banks and I go back to our days together in Tampa, and I talked to him this week, and he back and forth on Twitter, and he said, this is a good team. Are they the best? I don't know. He said, but they're certainly in the conversation as to whether or not they're the best.
All right, 3 weeks in, are they the best team that this franchise has had? I don't want to say ever, but
this is the best team they've had since '88, in my opinion. It's better than 2005.
Wow.
It's got more talent. No, it's got more talent than 2005. There are no knuckleheads on this team. And the most important thing about, I think, with this team is there seems to be a plan. I didn't think there was ever a plan in 2005.
You have to admit, it feels different. We're 3 weeks in.
It feels great.
Different.
It feels great. I sit up here and criticize Dalton a lot. I've been going to games since I was a kid, and I'm a Bengal fan to the end. But I always know, though, that I've hitched my wagon to Mike Brown, which is going to be frustrating.
Really?
And the whole thing. I mean, it's just my lot in life, but that's the way it is. But I want them to win all the games, and this feels great. Don't get me wrong, but it's 3 games in. After 3 games, this is probably one of the better teams. But to compare it to '88, it's just that's a bit of a stretch, in my opinion.
I think it's the best since '88.
That's what he's saying.
I don't think it's an '88 team, but I think it's the best. I think you look at all those teams since '88. I think this is the best team.
Most mature.
Well, I mean, that's not saying much because this team didn't exist for like 17, 18 years.
Right.
But I think it's better than 2005. I think it's better than any of the last 3 teams that went to the playoffs. My opinion.
And it's a perfect start, literally not only record-wise, but it couldn't have gone any better. I mean, they basically have won every quarter. They've always been in control every game. I mean, there's nothing more this football team could have done to this point.
They could have scored some more touchdowns. I know I'm still nitpicking, but the offense is underperforming. The reason that we're winning is you could have scored 14 points in one of the games that we've played.
Still, though, the
other team didn't have a chance to get even competitively into the game after the halftime.
I think the city has a lot to be excited about.
I thought they'd be 2-1. I didn't think they'd win the opener. I didn't think they would. But I thought they were. I thought at home against Atlanta, that's a win.
But they've done what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
They have an easier beginning of the schedule. And if they weren't making hay now, then they would be done. If they were 1-2, you would be looking at the schedule coming up, and you would be like, they're out of it.
I think the Atlanta win is almost the most impressive because look what their offense has done in the 2 other games that they have won.
What I'm saying is I thought they'd win at home. I thought they'd win both their home games. I thought they'd lose on the road at Baltimore. They beat Baltimore. They hold serve against Atlanta. And then yesterday they were just clearly a better team. I mean, Tennessee's horrible.
We have our next guest from Nashville. Okay, WKRN Nashville News 2.
Yes.
Joe Biddle. Joe, are you with us?
I am. Good morning, guys.
ABC affiliate in Nashville, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Joe, this is Ken. You're talking to Ken and Chris and Matt. I thought yesterday, Cincinnati was clearly the better team. I just couldn't believe all the penalties that Tennessee took. I mean, some of them were just kind of silly. Is anybody talking about that down there today?
Well, you've got to have some statistic to brag about, and you guys mentioned the word horrible. I think you're being very kind to the Titans when you mention that. But let me remind you, you're trying to figure out if this is the best Bengals team ever. In the NFL, as you guys know, fame is fleeting, so I wouldn't get too jacked up over 3-0.
Thank you, Joe.
They have been impressive. I'll give them that. I think Marvin Lewis is doing a great job with that team, and you said they didn't have any knuckleheads. Last time I checked, Pac-Man Jones was on that team, but he's over his knucklehead days. And
we call him Adam now, Joe. His name is Adam.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Yes.
Joe, everybody deserves a 7th or 8th chance. You know that.
We call him a lot of things here, but anyway. I congratulate him. It looks like the light bulb went on, and he's keeping his nose clean, and I think that's great for him.
Is time running out on Jake Locker down there?
Is what now?
Is time running out on Locker? You got Wisenhunt, he's new.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, is anyone coming to the conclusion that this guy may not be the guy for that franchise?
Oh, absolutely. I think the fans would run him off today. The thing is, though, he's such a good guy. He's such a workout warrior. He's first one there, last one to leave, Jim Rat type, and tries hard. But, Coach told me a long time ago, you can't coach accuracy, and that's been his problem ever since he got here. It was his problem when he was at the University of Washington, and you can't solve that, I don't think. And you saw yesterday, and I don't know how strong the wind was up there, but it certainly bothered him. But he's had a problem overthrowing receivers, underthrowing receivers, throwing it to the opposition. And this was a make-or-break season for him. Wisenhunt has made that perfectly clear. They're going to owe him big money after this year if they retain him. And the report card right now says cut him and go with somebody else as your quarterback, get somebody in the draft or Zach Mettenberger's here. He's got an NFL arm. I don't know if he's got an NFL brain, but he's just a rookie and hasn't played any yet. But looked good in preseason, as everyone does when they're going against the other team's third string.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign when you're talking about a player in the NFL. You say he tries hard. I don't think that's the most ringing endorsement that anybody can get.
Well, that's better than not trying hard, I guess.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Joe, Pollard said after the game, I think it was Pollard said after the game that there was no excuse for that because there's talent on this team, and maybe in recent years there hasn't been a lot of talent on this team. Do you think there's talent on that? I mean, should they be playing better than what they are?
Yeah, they should be. I mean, look, they went to Kansas City and beat them. That's a tough place to open up the season with a team that is under a first-year head coach. They looked impressive there. They have not looked impressive since. And yesterday, you saw the worst of the worst in the Titans. And as you know, week to week, that can change. I don't know if it's going to change drastically with the Titans. They're going to have to get their act together, and Whisenhunt promises they will. I don't know when he's going to start, but they'll have to work around the clock to get ready to go to Indianapolis and beat that team. I see them losing. I had them losing both these teams anyway, both these games on the road, Indianapolis and Cincinnati. They're much better teams than the Titans are right now. Can they get better? Well, they can't get much worse, so I guess they could get better. But when he says talent, they do have some talent on this team. What they don't have is playmakers that you can count on to be game changers, and they don't have that. So until they get some, I think they're going to be basically what they've been through the recent years, be the old 8-8 Titans 500 team.
It's funny how he was warning us not to get too excited at 3-0, and he sounds so doomed at 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, it can't be all that bad down there.
Got to be realistic, guys.
Well, I have problem with people that confuse realism with negativism. You got to be realistic in this business. I just wonder what you think, and we kind of got into it about Adam Jones and the '88 Bengals. But I mean, you watched the game yesterday, Joe. What do you think about this Cincinnati team after seeing it yesterday?
Oh, I was very impressed. Anybody that watched them yesterday was very impressed with what they did. I like the trick play where the Ginger Ninja caught a pass and took it into the end zone and broke a tackle, and I thought that was very creative. Whisenhunt said they had repped against that very play. Well, it didn't look like it because Bleedy Ray Wilson, he didn't know whether he wanted to intercept it or make the tackle. He didn't either.
I thought he was jumping up. You know what these players do at the end of a touchdown? They jump up and give themselves body bumps. I thought that's what the guy was doing.
Looked that way, didn't it?
That's what he did.
I mean, he had a horrible game. I mean, it was bad for the Titans, but I thought that kid had a really bad game yesterday. But I don't sense that the AFC South is out of reach for anybody. I mean, I think Indianapolis is good, but I wouldn't write off the Tennessee Titans yet, Joe.
No, I'm not doing that. I've been impressed with Ken Whisenhunt. I've known him since he was an assistant coach at Vanderbilt under the great Rod Dyhauer. his brief stay here. But I like Wiz. He's a good coach. He's tough on them. I think he's much better than Mike Munchak. Munchak should have never been the head coach there. That was a wasted 2 years. Wasn't ready to be a head coach. He is what he is. He's an offensive line coach. He had never been an offensive coordinator. Of course, that's how the Oilers and / Titans operated under Bud Adams. They went cheap, and that's what they did, and the results have been disastrous. And so Whisenhunt's in here to clean it up. There's a new attitude in the building. They've done things the right way. They've picked up good talent in the off season, but like I say, if they don't get playmakers on offense and defense, then they're going to be in trouble, and they'll be a mediocre team.
Joe, thanks for joining us at this early hour. Joe Biddle from Channel 2 WKRN in Nashville, columnist for years down there in Tennessee, and a guy you can hear on the radio down there. Thank you, Joe.
Enjoyed it, guys. Do it again. Thanks.
You know, Mr. Satin, you were here a couple of weeks ago. You had your introduction to Mr. Satin.
He interrupted a noon show of mine. when I was anchoring.
Is that right?
With
really?
what was an unruly, unprecedented Who Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Did
Inappropriate.
Did you try to, like, cold cock him across it?
No.
No?
You're twice the size I am.
You're a lover. You're not a fighter.
I'm not probably either. But we'll go ahead.
Mr. Satin, Mr. Satin is back again. He's been out on the street, and that's always a dangerous thing. Here now, the aforementioned Mr. Satin.
What's happening? This is Mr. Satin down there from the Flying Pigskin down at the game. The red season is in the tank. They were worthless. They're garbage right now. They are f***ing terrible. But what we want to know is, what Reds player would you take to put on this Bengals team and make them world champions?
Jumbo Diaz.
Jumbo Diaz. Is he going to be able to stay out there and injury-free? What's his position? What do you think?
He's a tight end who can block.
Tight end. Does he have the hands?
Catches the ball, doesn't he? And if nothing else, he takes his helmet off and throws it at somebody.
You know what? If he went off and got so pissed off like he does on the mound,
yes,
I don't even mind seeing the yellow flags come out if he's on the field.
Jumbo anarchy.
Yes. Since I Reds, the season's, they're dog now. They're in the creek. Who would you take from the Reds right now?
I'd go Skip Schumacher, who's played with more heart on this Reds team this year.
The guy's kind of a bum, though.
Yeah, but he gives the best that he's got.
Where do you see him on the field with the Bengals? I mean, he might be out there getting water for them, right? Here, Mr. A.J. Green, would you like a glass of water? And then probably look all smug and mean and ready to go. Where's he at on the field?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
Hamilton could contribute, and he could be a wide receiver.
Hamilton. Do they have a uniform that can fit him? He's a very small man. They might be going down and getting those boys size small for him.
A toddler. A toddler outfit.
Toddler XL?
Yeah, that would work.
Tell me about Billy Hamilton. Do you think he can make this Bengals team if we need him?
He's like Neon Dion. You know, he could play both teams if you really want it.
But what would you have him doing if he played for the Bengals?
Punt return.
I don't know. Can he take a hit, though?
Can he take a hit? He won't get hit.
Does he have the moves?
I've seen his moves with the ladies, and if it's anything like that on the field, I swear to God, he's a TD every touch.
Who would it be?
Billy Hamilton.
Billy Hamilton.
He's a return man. Think how fast he is.
He's got little weak bones, though.
I don't care. He's not going to get hit.
He's not going to even take a hit?
No, he's going to be fast enough. He's going to get around everybody.
All right.
He's not going to take a hit.
I mean, I can see
Who
we're
are you
going
taking?
I'm taking Broxton.
Huh? He's a horse.
He's gone, too.
Yeah. we don't need him anymore.
That's right.
Hell yeah. Who day?
Billy Hamilton get killed on this team. What does he weigh, like 98 pounds?
He's weak bones. That's what we were thinking.
Mr. Satin joined us, by the way.
I see. Welcome, sir. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me back, gentlemen.
Yeah, we were just remarking that dude actually had a Jason Campbell jersey on.
Yeah, it was interesting because it looked like his mother or grandmother had stitched it for me because on the back there was a different number. It was like 95 and
Right.
Okay.
maybe a family name. I'm not sure there.
Family name.
It's a custom.
I don't.
Yeah,
I would take Jumbo D. I don't know what you would do with him because Jumbo's big. He's not exactly in prime condition.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
no,
I don't.
yeah.
The guy I'd take is Latos.
Latos, yeah.
Latos
yeah.
looks like he could be like a couple extra pounds, be a linebacker.
Ian Vontes could be the nastiest. How
Yeah.
about Chapman? He can just throw it 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, if he could throw something, I'd take him.
I like the whole idea of a couple of water boy guys on the sideline there right now. I mean, just the way the season went down. I think we now know it's time to move on. That, for us, was sort of the nail in the coffin. We have to look.
If this was a relationship,
Pigskin.
it would have been time to move on, like in March.
I know, it's true.
But I think it's an interesting concept. Baseball and football, there's some guys that play both, like maybe through college, but after that, baseball.
Only really two guys ever professionally, right?
Bo Jackson
and then Dion.
Is
there somebody else?
There's a Falcon, right?
I mean, obviously John Elway did it. Colin Kaepernick would be the latest guy that you can, because Colin Kaepernick was drafted out of high school.
Who?
Russell Wilson's a good point.
No, but nobody played Major League Baseball and in the NFL except Bo Diaz and Dion, right?
Bo Jackson.
There's a Falcon.
Bo Diaz did too.
Rest in peace.
Bo Diaz. Did I say Bo Diaz?
Yeah, Bo Jackson.
I said Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. Bo Diaz, I don't think. The late lamented Bo Diaz did not play in
I think
the
Pete
NFL.
Rose could have. He was pretty mean. He could have been nasty.
Pete Rose would have been. He couldn't play in the NFL.
Free safety.
He could have
He's
played in the
just
NFL.
Oh yeah. Oh,
He
would
could
be
play in the NFL.
Who? Pete Rose?
Yes.
No.
Certainly. And especially back then, he was for when his time was very big and he could have handled himself on a football field.
He could
play 5 different positions.
He played high school football. He probably could have played college football. Pete Rose, he wasn't built for the. What are you talking about?
He played high school football at West High?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a heck of a player in high school.
He just had the demeanor. He would just be
right.
Chop,
you were in the stadium
yesterday. Get it done.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it loud there? Was it rowdy?
Yeah, it was. I loved it. We had, we were kind of up top, had some nice seats, but everybody was into the game. I mean, it's just incredible to walk through all the tailgaters and just the energy down there right now. I've never seen that before down here, and it's.
Well, I remember back in the day in the '80s when tailgating was illegal.
Illegal?
Yeah, you couldn't do it.
What?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, you couldn't openly tailgate. You had to closet tailgate.
Exactly. That's
a lot of closet tailgaters down there.
Yeah.
By the way,
tailgate.
I was at a dining establishment recently, like in the last week.
All right.
And the chef, by the name of Zane, actually he's the chef at Still Meadow Country Club.
Okay.
Came out and said, I really like Mr. Satin. No, la-di-da.
Oh yeah.
It's not a country club. It's a club out in the country. It's a. But
I know people who work at Still Meadow Country.
You still have to pay dues and a minimum.
Anyway, he came out of the dining room. I was there with friends. Okay, and he said, I really like that Mr. Satin.
Wow, I tell
so
you.
you got
what,
one fan, man.
I love it. Hey, you got to start somewhere, and one is a great place to start.
Absolutely, you can't have 2 fans unless you have one.
That's right. I'm always looking for handouts, free food, something like that.
1 foot in front of the other.
Good, he's a chef.
Yeah.
Once again, Furniture Fair with this really comfy sofa.
Isn't it nice?
It's really doing it for me. So thanks, guys.
It's kind of cool, to do this, and it just feels good.
Hey.
Because I'm not used to being up this early in the morning.
Welcome.
I watch you. I watch you guys, but it's like it's like a comatose
It's like you're up,
state.
but you're not up. I see
I'm
what
like,
you're saying.
I don't want to give you too much information, but I'm like
Yeah.
laying in bed watching you, okay?
I'm still tailgating.
That's right, he's still tailgating.
You're just getting home?
Yeah, it's a long walk up,
You watch you guys, which would be Chris Riva and
Catherine
we have
Catherine
joining
Nero.
us now. Let's take care of that, Mike. Open up.
Catherine
Skype.
has her finger on the trigger of social media.
She always does.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, there she is.
Hi, Catherine.
Hello, Catherine.
Good.
How are you today?
I'm lovely. And yourself?
You are lovely every day.
Thanks, Ken. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah. So anyway, so what is the social media outcry today? Are they still yapping about Goodell?
You know what? No, that's the interesting thing. Let's be fair. Most Mondays after a Bengals game in years past, there has been an outcry of some sort. It's all happiness. It's like happy, clappy stuff here. First of all, several media outlets, including NFL AM, the radio show, is predicting that are calling the Bengals the best team in the NFL. It's unusual for someone to hear. It's been here for a while. But yeah, who can argue 3-0? That's a big thing right now. Everybody's talking about the trick play, Sanu to Dalton. Andy the receiver is a hashtag, actually.
Wow.
That's becoming.
Wow.
That's kind of gaining momentum. 4 of the top 10 trending topics are still Bengal related, which is pretty impressive considering how long ago the game was. So yeah, lots of discussion there. Less about Goodell and the issues of the NFL and more about the happiness of an undefeated season so far.
Yeah, it seems to me, I don't know if it works this way in social media because it's all new turf. Nobody knows how this stuff, it changes every day. But when the Bengals lose, and they have historically done that, that's when most opinion comes out. When they win, what you get is a lot of hooday and we're great, but you don't really get into like analysis and why it worked and worked so well. When they lose, everybody wants to get into the analysis of why it blew up. That's the way it seems to work. Does it work that way in social media?
Yeah, absolutely. But the other thing you get is, and let's be fair, this is Cincinnati, so this is the way we work. We're always glass half empty.
Yeah.
It's always like, yeah, Bengals are great, but playoffs is where it counts most. Wait till they win a playoff game. There's 3 in a row here.
Was that from Matt Lukin?
No, but Matt Lukin endorses that sentiment. But Ken, I heard you talking to Rocky Boyman on the radio the other day, and you guys were a lot of people are saying, should Sanu be the quarterback? And I know that's a little ridiculous, but what a lot of people where I was sitting, that's just look, it's social media. It doesn't, there's no editing. But what a lot of people who sit where I sit, we were saying is, they should run some kind of wildcat. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to replace him at all, but you could. That
trick play was.
What? Oh, I know, but I'm saying, but they don't do it as a lot of teams do it, and it's a more regular part of their offense. You could put Sanu back there, once or twice a series.
Who this year's doing it that way?
Well, what does that mean?
Well,
somebody else has to do it.
Well,
so
people
it
are
makes it
Wildcat was like famous 5 years ago.
Well,
And
do we do it because it's famous or because it works?
I think that if it
Well, the problem
works,
is once you install it as the Wildcat, then it doesn't because people are expecting it. It's like when Randall Cobb would be back there ready to throw. I mean, he, did a great job at UK.
Okay.
You get him, he needs to stay your lane. But yeah, you install a Wildcat as a serious option, and that guy doesn't miss Dalton like he did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's going to be expecting Dalton to catch
Well,
him.
that guy should have killed him anyway.
Well,
but yeah.
here's the question: who's the best player on offense? It's AJ Green, right? At least I think so. Who's your next
Gio.
best? Who's your next best player on offense?
Gio probably.
Who's your third best player on offense?
Where you going? You going to
Well, what I'm saying is do you
Who
want?
should we say? Just tell us.
I thought it would have been better if you said Andy Dalton, but okay. But is it better if you take Dalton out of the play and put Sanu in? Because that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
That's what you're
The bottom
asking.
line
You're
is
asking
who's
him
the
to do
better
something he's not
quarterback,
good at doing.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who's the better quarterback? And Dalton's the better quarterback. So why continually put him in a position where he is lesser than he is? He is not as good a receiver as he is a quarterback.
With that said, every time that Sanu now goes around the end or lags around the line of scrimmage at the start of a play, every team's going to have to account for it.
Dude's the backup kicker on the team too. I didn't know that till after
Athlete.
the game last night. So I mean, he's got a lot of different skill sets. We might see, but you know what, Matt? That's not a bad idea. We might see some of that after Marvin Jones comes back, because right now Sanu's the number 2 wide receiver, and so if you get if you get Jones back, it might free him up to do some other things. But it was funny. That's what people were saying. They were saying, well, do we have a backup quarterback controversy now with Jason Campbell and Mohamed
That's a
Sanu?
little silly. And I'm not talking about I think you do it all the time or it's like a regular, but I just think once or twice a series, you put him in there and you put him back there.
Twice a series?
Once or twice,
Oh,
yeah.
that's crazy talk.
Then it becomes too obvious. It's no longer a trick play. The reason it works is that it's a trick play.
Agreed.
Well, okay, I don't necessarily agree with that, but okay.
That'd be like running Julie O'Neill out to the morning show. Just like
Which we do on a regular basis.
Right, and
okay?
then we'll put Catherine. We'll put Catherine right there on Skype. I mean, I don't know. Would they do that? I don't know.
Oh yeah, they've done it.
They've
It's
done
awesome.
it. They put you
Usually
on
in the
Skype.
morning, no filter. It's the best.
All right. Okay. Well,
Sanu is perfect. Doesn't he? Isn't he 4 for 4 with
4 for 4, 3
touchdowns?
TDs.
Three?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Catherine, what's his quarterback rating? Do you know?
158.3. And I just saw
That was for yesterday.
through yesterday.
No, I'm saying that was his rating yesterday. I don't think that's his rating all time.
Well,
but
he's perfect.
Oh no, it is. He's 4 for 4. He's 4 for 4.
I understand. Okay.
In the
All right. Then I
158.3.
stand corrected. I apologize.
In other words, he's the best quarterback.
Best quarterback in the history of the NFL. Is what
Yeah,
I
you're right. Yeah.
Maybe there is
See,
a
I'm with
controversy.
you.
Those people
His
on the radio
college
were right.
passer rating, according to our friend Kevin Goheen over at Fox Sports, he said it would be 616.
wow.
But in the NFL, you got to settle for 158.3.
Wow. Catherine, what is your Twitter handle?
That's at Nero WCPO, and the logic there is no one can spell my first name, so it's Nero WCPO.
I can spell your first name. It's not
Go
difficult.
for it. Go for it. Let me see.
K-A-T-H-E-R-I-N-E.
No, wrong.
Dun,
The
dun,
real deal is my
dun.
dad couldn't spell my first name.
Well, how do you spell your
I've
first
got
name?
just Catherine
It's also a sticky
right there together.
Oh, it is?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
because his hands in his head in
I'm
his
not
hands
supposed
right
to
now.
ask. So it's at Nero WCPO. Okay. And people you have followers or stalkers, right?
Millions of them.
Yeah, okay.
Millions upon millions.
What's your handle there, Chris? What are you?
Oh, I'm Riva at WCPO.
Boy, you guys are just so creative.
I know. Yes. It's the reason that Catherine has millions and millions of people on Twitter is because she has a big wheelhouse, as she likes to say.
That's true. That is true. The Bengals are in it, as is food-related topics.
Boy bands?
Boy bands, yes. 90s R&B.
Processed meats.
Fast food French fries.
There you have it.
Boy bands.
Yeah.
Thursday night ABC television, DVRs in general, and this new thing that Chris Riva likes called Netflix.
Yeah, have you heard about it?
That's
Netflix?
it.
She introduced me to Netflix.
Really? Yeah. You know, this internet thing's going to take off,
I know.
too.
I think it is.
I thought it was a fad for a while.
Thank
apparently.
you, Catherine.
I thought there was only like sports websites on the internet.
Yeah. It's always good to have Catherine on the show. Thank you, Catherine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. She's got
Later,
her finger
Kat.
on the trigger.
What's that?
She's got her finger on
Oh,
the
she
trigger.
always does. She always does. You can count on it.
She
for that.
keeps you on your toes, don't you?
There's no doubt about it.
I can tell. I can tell.
We have been remiss in not introducing our viewers and listeners to our Statman and Injury Update Analysis, PJ.
Is that like Scatman?
It is kind of like that.
Scatman.
Yes.
I'll take
He's,
both.
I like how you referred to him as the Rinaldi last week.
Right, that's
I'll
true.
take that
but
too.
yeah, he's going to give us a little update, and he runs WCPO.com.
I run
does.
it.
Yeah.
I run it.
It was and that means that he's responsible and to blame for all of this.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, you could say I'm like the hamster on the wheel.
Right. Meanwhile, several people out in the WCPO newsroom have just keeled over, knowing that PJ, actually, particularly the guy that actually runs WCPO.com. But it's good to have you, PJ.
Good to be here. A couple numbers for you guys.
Thank you.
We do have an injury report we'll get to. But a couple important numbers to point out. You both have mentioned a team from the 1980s 8 times. 8 references to the 1980s.
Is that a lot?
I don't know if it's a lot. I'm not here to contextualize.
No.
Considering we
You're here to what?
Here to give you the numbers.
You're not here to what?
I know it's too early.
Considering we had Full Rock on, I
too
think
early.
that's legit.
He came up with a word I didn't even know when we were doing the Red Show. What was that called?
Oh,
Cosmetology?
modernity. That was modernity.
Modernity.
Modernity, that's
yeah.
right. Similar to pregnancy, but not really.
Modernity Family. I think that's on ABC.
It might be, but no.
88 Bengals 9.
There is some perspective to that. It's warranted to mention, especially the '88 Bengals. This is the 7th time in franchise history that your Cincinnati Bengals have started 3-0.
Really?
Very good sign. Most of those years qualified for the playoffs. 4 of them: 75, 88, 1990, and 2005. One of those years was 06. Gulp. That was when we lost our last 3 games.
I remember that.
Yeah, we needed 1 to qualify for the postseason.
Is that when we missed that extra point or something in Denver?
Yeah, that
oh my
and,
goodness,
and then
that
it
was
the
very
overtime.
Romo-esque.
Merry
Maddie, what were you
Christmas.
holding for that?
rough.
Were you-
Merry Christmas.
Wasn't also that the last game of the season they lost in overtime to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it was quite literally a collapse. Yeah. So that's a good sign for well, maybe not the 06 is a good sign, but the other 4, that's a good sign for the Bengals starting there. One other number I'm going to throw out there. We've been talking about the defense. The defense is, of course, carrying this team. They're doing very well. There is a concern. There is a concern. Running the ball against this defense, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Yesterday, the Tennessee Titans, who are their running backs? No one and no one
Not
Jr.
Chris Smith.
Yeah,
They got Bishop Sankey's a rookie.
Yeah,
Bishop,
Bishop,
I
he's
thought
still young.
who I thought played a really good game.
Mike
Bishop
Stroutman,
Sankey.
ladies
Yeah,
and
he
gentlemen.
played well.
Yeah, I went to his church earlier in the day. It was gave a great sermon. Then next thing I know, he's on the field.
Who knew?
So he had that going for him,
Who
which
knew?
is kind of nice.
He's going to be a stud. You watch.
It appears that way, and especially against this Cincinnati defense, 149 rushing yards.
Yeah, I know that was
Racked
a lot.
up. That's a point of concern, and Jake Locker's nothing to write home about, and they defended him very well and the receivers very well. But this is not an uncommon trend.
That was 149 total.
149 total. Yeah.
Well, how many did Locker have?
50. He had 50.
no. So
But
you
even if you write
50
him out, that's still 94 yards. I mean,
2 for 12 on third down, though, PJ. They were down
But just it's a point of concern. The Bengals have the 15th ranked rushing defense in the league.
Ooh.
So
Where
there's
are they
room
in
for
points,
improvement.
though?
That's what I'm saying. Room for improvement. Yeah, overall, it's a great squad, but room for improvement on the rushing
Do
side.
you know
of the
where
ball.
they are in points?
Let me check that out, and I'll get back to that. Well,
I have a number while you're checking that out.
Yeah.
Since 1990, 75% of the teams that started 3-0 made the playoffs.
And that's a great sign. And what's funny there, too, is there are 2 other undefeated teams. This is my last number. The Arizona Cardinals. What? And the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, they are.
What? So you're in bad company there. So that has to be a good sign going forward for the Bengals. Let's get to the injury report, though. Vontaze did not play yesterday. It's being reported he's had 2 concussions this year. And which is something
certainly looked like it.
Yeah.
That's not good. Seriously, that is not good.
No.
Because you're one more from maybe being gone for a while.
And you're the wrecking ball in the middle of the defense.
Right.
So you're in contact every play.
Right.
Yes, and on that linebacking core, of course, we also have Sean Porter out. And Vontaze, by the way, no projection for him to be back. They're expecting to rest him for the bye week, of course.
Yes. I don't think he'll be playing.
No,
by
I don't think
himself.
he'll be. No.
So, Ken, is
probably
there
not.
protocol if he has another concussion? In the next,
I don't know.
Is
That's
he done for the year?
That's a great question. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna look that one up for you too.
I think back to what was a kid from El Dorado Hills, California, played for the Colts. Was a BYU wide receiver recently. Austin Collie. I remember when he got crushed for like 3 straight games, and then they just shut him down for the year. That was 2 years ago.
Well, some of these guys, you get 3 or 4, you're done. I mean, not for the year. You're just done.
I mean, like Wes Welker.
And these protocol tests they give these guys for concussions, I'm going to say it. I'm not a doctor. I don't think there's any okay, here's A, B, C, and D, and then this guy's not playing, because the player could lie. He could just say, I know. It's such an imperfect science, I think, testing, because you're relying on the player to be honest with you, and all the player wants to do is get back in the game.
Right.
Hey guys, one of the yesterday, Emmanuel Lemure also went off with concussion, and he happened to be walking by me with the trainer, and one of the questions that they were asking him was, did he remember who the captains of the game were?
Wow.
So it's silly.
And he said, I'm in Atlantic City and I'm fighting Mike Tyson.
I am Batman.
Kind of questions like that.
Right.
That's what
by the way, does Libby say anything?
She does. Libby,
what's a safety, Libby?
Libby. Now PJ's
what's
trying
a safety?
to expose her. Yes. David Fulcher played safety.
Or a holding call while the quarterback is in the end zone.
Libby. I shouldn't have done that to you.
That's terrible.
She's not the best killer.
The answer is no, Ken. She doesn't say anything.
Okay.
She just laughs.
That's okay. I was concerned because I thought Brian was invading her personal space there.
But talking about the Eagles and the Cardinals, last week, first of all, we have a poll question, and it was, how many wins did you think? Do you think the Bengals?
Oh,
will,
I remember this. Yes.
Yes.
Do we have results?
That? We do.
Oh, great.
Can you take the full screen, Mike?
Full screen.
No, results. We have a full screen.
They have it.
Oh wait. Oh, he's
behind you. Turn around.
There you go. Lose the downstream.
All right.
Okay. But the people are drinking the Kool-Aid.
Wow.
Oh my!
62, almost 2/3 of the viewers and/or listeners.
They must be on amphetamines.
Yeah, 12 wins. The franchise has done that, I think, twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they think 12 or better.
I think 9 to 11 is where they're going to wind up.
Yeah, I actually might be along with that, but that's a big number and a big number of people who agree.
Hey,
with
Maddie,
it.
when you say the franchise has done it twice, they've never done better twice, right? They've done 12
I think they've
twice.
just done 12 the 2 years they went to the Super Bowl. That's just personal recollection. But
I mean, when you say 12 wins or better, what you're saying is they're going to win 4 or fewer games, and I mean, I can see at least 3 that might be difficult for them.
Absolutely. They have two crazy stretches, and one's coming up now.
Right.
Where they have 2 or 3 in a row, and they have 3 straight road
Another
games.
franchise club record. Well, club record. It's bordering on the club record. Home wins. Your Cincinnati Bengals. They've won. I think it's 11 in a row now at home.
Regular season.
Regular season wins, and that's second only to your 88 and 89 Bengals combined with the postseason. They won 12 straight at home.
Wow.
So rightfully so.
I was asking Ken about that before the show, PJ, and it was interesting. I remember back in the 80s, even if you threatened to go 8-8, the jungle would be sold completely out. And in '88 season was crazy at home. It was so deafening. And why aren't they selling out now? Is it too expensive? What's the deal?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's not any more expensive. I mean, Catherine was bringing that up last week. It is what it is. It didn't go up drastically.
But what
in
she
the
brought
last
up
few
a valid
years.
point is the ticket prices are so high you can't take a family, so only one of the two goes.
But I understand that. But we have to. But NFL games are what they are, and they cost what they cost. When in '88 they were selling it out, it was an NFL game. I mean, a few years ago, and when Carson Palmer came, and they went to the playoffs in 2005, you couldn't get a ticket.
Yeah.
I remember the year after. I'm a season ticket holder, and I couldn't go to one of the preseason games. And usually you can't give those away, right?
Right.
I mean, nobody wants to go. They might take it for $5 or $10. The year after, when Carson came back, it was the first time he was going to take the field, and it was a preseason game, and I sold my tickets on eBay for more than I paid for them, which was ridiculous. It was a sellout.
This may come as a complete shock to everyone, but I actually watch more programs than sports programs.
Okay.
I think the economy in the country it's not good, and you've got to.
It's still discretionary income.
Yeah, this is the same as: am I going to go to a movie? Am I going to go on vacation? Am I going to buy a new TV set?
You think the only thing that's going to help the attendance is the economy?
I think bad football. Hang on a second.
Then they're not going to sell out
for
the rest of the year.
I think bad football. For the better part of 20 years. If a generation is defined as 25 years.
I think they did better in the attendance in the first few games the last couple of years.
I think bad football, you have an entire generation of people that have grown up in this town that have known nothing but losing. And I think during that time, I'm talking about people that are now in their late 20s to mid 30s, their allegiances went to other teams. You could have walked around this town in 2002 and not seen as much Bengal gear as you did Cowboys and Raiders and teams like that. I think there's a lost generation out there, and that's one of the reasons why they're struggling. You couple that with an economy that crashed in 2008, 2009, and now all of a sudden you've got the perfect storm. I think that's what's going on more than anything.
But in the same token, this franchise has done everything they can in the last 4 years to get the fan base back.
Yeah, they've won. They're winning.
Exactly.
It's getting deep on this show. We're going deep. I'm going to reel it back in here. 1981, 1988, 2 years they went 12. They won 12. Those are both Super Bowl appearances.
Matt's right.
Yep. So Matt was right. That was the loss to the Niners twice. Sorry to bring that back up. If we mentioned Emmanuel Lemur, not an official concussion yet. Blow to the head. We're going to figure that out. We'll keep an eye on it.
Are you concussed, PJ?
I may be. It's early. I think everyone wakes up concussed at this hour, and you need to just shake off the dust.
Tried at 2 a.m.
Yeah, right. I'm sure. Kevin Zeitler, excuse me. He's expected to miss another couple of games. The bye week's going to help him. Marvin Jones could return against the Pats in 2 weeks. That'll be another weapon added to the receiving core.
And Burkhead, right?
Yes, and Burkhead, Mr. Rex Burkhead. We don't need Burkhead. Jeremy Hill.
Yeah.
Jeremy
take
Hill.
everybody you can get back.
You know who's back with us?
Yeah, we had an unceremonious introduction today. That was sort of my coordination, lack of coordination. But yes, we welcome
the real McCoy, Mike McCoy, who is in essence the man who runs WCPO. If PJ runs WCPO.com.
He's our fixer. You go
Mike
to him
runs,
whenever you need something.
And we begin with Mike as we do every week. Mike, Andy Dalton.
What is that?
You won't even give us the satisfaction of saying that Dalton played well yesterday, avoided complete disaster by catching that pass and taking it into the end. You won't even give him any credit, will you?
Can I bring a little wood to the campfire, boys?
Why do I have a feeling it's going to be an accelerant as well?
Well, here's the deal.
Accelerant.
If you really look at that score yesterday, it wasn't indicative of the way the game went.
No, it should have been like 50-7.
Tennessee shot themselves in the foot. If you look at statistics and statistics and that sort of thing, that game was pretty much close as far as numbers, passing, yardage, receiving. Matter of fact, Tennessee had more yards total than the Bengals did. So
they held the ball.
If these guys don't shoot themselves in the foot, they're right in it. They were moving the ball.
The Bengal defense had something to do with that.
You're absolutely right about that, but the deal is they were moving the ball. And then you talking about giving Dalton credit. I would never, ever, if that was Pittsburgh or the Baltimore playing the Bengals and they threw that pass back to Dalton, they wouldn't have never tried to intercept that ball. They would have blew him up.
Yeah.
How do you put your quarterback in a position like that? This young boy, Wilson, what is he thinking? Man, you get rid of the quarterback, screw the 7 points,
that was a potential,
take him out.
Yeah.
That was a potential season-ending play for the entire franchise
probably was
right
like,
there.
oh, my God. I guarantee you, if that was Baltimore, either Pittsburgh, they never would have tried that play.
Yeah, that was broken ribs waiting to happen right there.
Exactly, or at least out for the rest of the year, possibly.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not saying I'm not giving Dalton credit. This little trickery, the cupcake stuff is over now. So enjoy your dessert because the steaks are coming up. Let's see if you're going to finish the steak.
Mike, what does this team have to do to impress you?
They have to beat a playoff team, and once they beat a playoff team, once they get into the playoffs to win a game. See, I heard guys talking yesterday about these are Super Bowl Bengals. They're Super Bowl what?
Mike?
Yes, sir.
What if they beat the Patriots? What if they beat them handily?
Then if they beat the Patriots handily, I will take off my wig to them.
But you know what?
Can we have something that we would really, feel that wouldn't really do anything for us?
But here's Cincinnati, Chris. You got Matt Lukin saying, but what if? We live in a what-if Cincinnati, and you got Mike over here saying, yeah, but. So this is Cincinnati. We live in what if and yeah, but. Nobody can live in the moment.
But those bums take you there. Those bums do that to you. If they were a legitimate team, you take that ride and you're way up here. Then all of a sudden, it's like down in the dumps. Who wants to ride that roller coaster? Sooner or later, you got to get off of it. I would like to get back on it.
Who's not riding the roller coaster? Wouldn't they give me one team not named New England, and they are?
And they are, yeah.
Who's not riding the roller coaster?
You're frustrated there because they haven't got it done.
Well, I can't tell you that because I'm a fair weather fan. I go with winners. I don't go with this. I go with winners. I'm just honest, and people respect honesty. I don't choose. I choose winners.
So
That's
who are
what
you
I
riding right now? If you were truly doing that, then you would ride this franchise.
Who's going to win the
Super Bowl? No. I would ride right now probably the Eagles, because the Eagles, they're more legit to me than the Bengals are. Or I would ride something like Seattle, the way they manhandled Denver yesterday.
They won
the
in overtime.
Bengals just don't do that
Help
for
me. Out,
me.
They actually blew a big lead.
It doesn't matter. What it matters is what comes out at the end of the game, right?
Matter.
The win or the loss, right?
This is true, yes.
Okay, so that's all that matters.
Agree.
But once the Bengals start losing, I want to hear what you have to say and what you have to say. Well, they could have did it if they were Marvin Lewis hadn't took too many timeouts. We always making excuses.
We don't even have time to get into clock management. Oh my God!
You know, it's going to be ridiculous. The cupcake is over. It's
we've
over.
had time for clock management.
You know, let me ask you this question.
No, Mike. Mike.
Let me ask you a question.
No, because you lost me about like 90 seconds ago. All I want to know is what does this team have to do to have you come in here on a Monday and say, hey, you know what? They're pretty good.
Andy Dalton throws for more than 300 yards. He has 3 touchdowns with that. Let's see, the Bengals couple of interceptions
they haven't had 3 touchdowns in a game.
So if he gives me a 300-yard game,
well, it's still yesterday.
Perfect. He hasn't had one in quite the 301 yards he had against Baltimore. That was like trickery. Let me see a legitimate game where he had 300 or more yards, preferably if he gets closer to 400.
400 yards?
Well, hell, good quarterbacks do that. Drew Brees almost throws for 400 and lose.
Right, he's 1 and 2 right now.
You know, Flacco almost throws for 400 and lose.
I think Kirk Cousins had something like that too.
So what I'm saying is, let him throw for 300 yards or more, closer to 400.
Mike is the person you were talking about who is scorned from the last a couple decades.
But you know what? I kind of get that because it's like I think that we've been so scarred in this town by bad football that when it's remotely good, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop. I think there's a lot of that.
I just go the other way around. Like Matty, I'm a lifelong fan. Been going since I was a young child. Celebrate the success when they have it. It's so hard in this league not to enjoy it when you get it.
I'm with you. I criticize Dalton, but it's fun to go down.
Awesome.
Yesterday, there were a couple big plays, and they did outgain them. But watching the game and having gone to games my whole life, they were in control of that game from the very beginning. The Titans knew it, and the Bengals knew it.
That's another cool thing when your opposition knows that.
Oh, they knew.
Yeah, and I think they knew it from the very beginning.
What I didn't know until about 2 hours ago is Mike plays the ponies. You play the ponies. And he has some breaking news here. California Chrome is shot, right? Done. Finished. Go to the farm, bring in the mares. He's done.
Exactly. They spent, people betted $3 million on him. He didn't even run 5th.
Yeah.
You know, so Brian jumped out, won $1 million Pennsylvania Derby. Taptree was second.
Pennsylvania has a
Candy
Derby?
Boy
I had
was
no
third.
idea.
Yeah, Pennsylvania Derby. See, you live in Ohio, all you think about is the Kentucky Derby,
right, Kentucky.
That kind of stuff.
Right.
But let me back up and say something. Will you stop cussing out in space? Whenever you say who they, you're cussing.
What?
Who they is cussing.
It is?
You're using bad language when you say who they.
Why?
That's where.
Does it mean something I don't know?
No, it's just you're cussing when you say who they. Anytime a fan says, any fan says it, it's a bad word. You know, it's just a bad word. So
well,
stop cussing.
We're gonna go to one of the best Bengal fans that there is right now, and we've mentioned him a couple times earlier in the show. Johnny Bag. Oh, here we go. Open it up.
Johnny's with us today.
Johnny's always with us. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Open it up.
Oh,
Open it up. There you go.
Oh my.
There.
Wow.
Hi guys.
Are you like coming out of surgery? What's going on here?
Like, I don't know, it's like 6 in the morning. You guys have it so freaking early.
Yeah. Johnny, did you happen to watch the game on Sunday?
So I was down at Oktoberfest naturally, and I don't know, they need to figure out how to like schedule this stuff a little bit better because it was really bad timing on the Bengals' part to have it during Oktoberfest.
I know.
But I did get to watch a couple highlights on the Jumbotron.
There you go.
I did get to see Dalton throw his own pass and receive it and catch it in the end zone, which was pretty cool. But I got to say, I think like the team needs to like not make him do so much. That's ridiculous. He's got to start doing his own touchdowns.
Make him do so much? Well, he makes millions of dollars like a week. I mean, shouldn't he do something?
Well, yeah, throw the ball, but now he's got to catch his own balls too. I mean, that's just crazy.
You look like you either have the flu or the methadone isn't working.
Well, I'm coming down from the Oktoberfest hive. You know what I'm saying?
Johnny, I really, your participation in the show, this may come as a complete shock to everyone, but your participation in the show has drawn a lot of interest from people that watch here on WCPO.com. Could you explain your credentials to us, exactly why you're on this show?
Well, I mean, lifelong Bengals fan. I think Matt Lucan would agree. I'm sort of an expert when it comes to Bengals history and just
five-time Jeopardy champion.
Right. And, technical play. I'm great at talking about the technical plays that the Bengals are doing. But yeah, I mean, I'm #1 fan. Here.
There you go.
Well,
might as well get his mom in on the show. He's in the
basement. They're already at work.
Mom's making French toast.
Mom's making French toast.
He's skipping school. They left and he went back to bed.
I just think if we introduce, I mean, obviously, you got PJ runs WCPO.com. Mike runs WCPO.
He is editor. BOD is editor extraordinaire.
So you're an editor, Johnny?
Content coordinator, I believe.
Well, yeah. I'm a content coordinator.
What does that mean?
Which is a word for an editor. Yes, I'm an
editor. Those 2 words.
And your hours obviously aren't early morning hour. Obviously, they're not early morning hours. So you're in here at night, like putting stuff on the air, like editing tape and things like that.
Well, yeah, I do that, and it's weird, Ken, because I see you when I leave work. You're still doing stuff, and then, I'm waking up and you're still doing stuff.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to talk to my agent.
That's the Andy Dalton thing. You're doing too much.
I am doing too much. I got to let the game come to me, don't I?
You're the Andy Dalton of the WCPO franchise.
Yeah. Amazingly, we both have red hair.
He's never won a playoff game.
I've never won a playoff game, no.
I had a dream last night that you guys made the show 3 hours long. I think that's a good idea.
Well, it's starting to feel that way right now.
Yes.
But
and his BOD segment was an hour of it.
That's Well, Johnny, we didn't mean to wake you up this morning or tuck you in, but it's always great having you on. And honestly, most of the reaction we get to this show involves you, so there should be some comfort and satisfaction for you.
I get a lot of comfort in the show. It gets me through the week.
Did the chicks stop you on the street, Johnny, and want to
oh man,
do
it's
things
amazing
to you? Or?
The amount of recognition I'm getting out there.
Thank you, Johnny. We appreciate your time.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Okay, Johnny brought up one of the Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah.
And there was another sporting event in the downtown area yesterday of world-class caliber.
Are you talking about the Brat Festival?
That's right. Yeah. Yes.
The eating contest.
Major League Eating was in town.
Johnny Chestnut.
Competitive.
Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut. Yeah.
From Northern California.
It was quite the spectacle, and the Lachey brothers participated. This is them behind the stage.
Wow.
That's Joey.
How did we get this access?
Oh, there is no length that the Flying Pigskin will not go to cover sports in the Cincinnati area.
By the way, Maddie, I believe Drew officially tallied 6.5 brats.
Right. I think he said, Drew won with, I think, 6.5.
Between the brothers.
Right. And right, correct. In the Lachey battle. He had 6.5, and what's the other one's name? Nick.
Yeah.
He had 6
What's
and a
the
third.
other one's name? Come on.
Not a fan of the boy band?
I'm just sorry. Yeah, I'm not the boy band. We needed Catherine at that moment, and I'm not doing good. But yeah, it was quite the spectacle. And Joey didn't have any competition. I was there last year, and he set what they claimed to be a Major League Eating world record of 70. And there was somebody who was reasonably close to him, I guess, pushing him. This year he only did 50. Which sort of seems to me like he mailed it in. He just mailed it in. Yeah, wow. Because the next closest guy was like 30 or something.
And I think afterwards he said he wanted to go have a beer and something else to eat, didn't he? I thought I heard that.
Is that what?
Well, what a cool job to have. You just go around the country eating stuff.
Yeah, but you get to sprint while doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what his gastrointestinal tract looks like. You do, apparently.
No, question.
Yes.
Question.
You just said who hasn't won a playoff game? I don't think Andy Dalton has won a playoff game, has he?
No.
In 3 tries, right?
Right.
Correct.
He sucks.
Yeah, he's not a world champion like Joey Chestnut.
Yeah. You ever bet on competitive
Yeah,
eating?
I heard Warren Sapp yesterday say on NFL Network that, I forget who he was talking about, but he said he sucks in quarterbacks just like a McDonald's straw.
And that's what Warren Sapp said?
Yes.
What's that? I don't, okay.
Let me ask
Mike
you,
doesn't get the straw and the sucking part.
No.
Oh.
I don't.
Has
He's talking about
RG3
that,
has
Mike.
RG3 ever won a playoff game?
No, but RG.
Does he suck?
Yes.
He does.
Not more so than Dalton. But Dalton.
Oh.
He's winding up.
And here comes the delivery. Like I say, if Dalton could prove to me that he can throw for 300 more yards a game or more, and with the touchdowns, and is he the leader on that team?
Well, he better be, because the quarterback should always be the leader on the team.
But I don't think he is. I think the defensive side is the leader.
Well, you get leadership from the quarterback to the middle linebacker. Those are leadership positions. So you must be saying then that Vontaze Burfict is the leader on this team.
I'm okay with that too.
On the offensive side, I would think A.J. Green is more of the leader on the offensive side.
Wide receiver can't be a team leader.
When he goes back and he looks at Dalton, when he throws the ball low and wide and high, he looks at him like that. And Dalton kind of like looks down to the ground like, okay,
well,
I get
wasn't
the
that a
message.
problem on this team for years with Ocho Cinco and Carson Palmer? Because Ocho Cinco just kind of enveloped Carson Palmer and turned him into this blithering, shrinking violet. That was a problem.
Okay, I agree with that, but it's something. Maybe it's the red hair.
He's got something against people with red hair. It would appear.
Yeah, maybe it's the red hair.
I don't know. I don't know where he gets that though.
The guys on the team love Andy, so they're gonna,
Mike can tell that being next to them all during the game.
I mean,
you can feel the love.
You can see it in the locker room. I mean, they
Oh, Stride, so now you hanging out in the locker room.
Well, he's on the field. He's
I
right
gotta-
next
on
to
the
him.
field.
pass, man.
You're not in the locker room. Stop lying, dude. You're telling that lie. You're in the locker room. Come on. You know good and well you're not in the locker room. You got a pass to be on the field, not in the locker room.
I can go in the locker room. My pass has access to the locker room. Ask Slaughter.
Yeah, right. Oh, ask Slaughter now, like I'm going to believe him.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Speaking of which, unrelated topic, you see the guy got arrested last week for posing. He found the CBS Sports Pass.
Slaughter did?
No, some guy, a Cincinnati native, found the CBS Sports Pass out, used it, got to the field, and he had a Bengals jersey on. And then they arrested him.
What was your first clue?
I'm taking it off the tracks if we weren't already off there.
I thought we had a good show today.
We
What do
did.
you think, Matt?
PJ's going to give us next week's poll question.
Oh,
we
good.
had one this week. Overwhelmingly, people are drinking the Kool-Aid. I think this one's going to demonstrate that as well. But PJ, what?
Yeah, and this will be interesting to get Mike's last take on. We have a poll question up. Who is the best team in the NFL right now? Because we have the 3 undefeateds. We have the Bengals.
Right.
We have your Cardinals. We have your Eagles. But there are a couple lying in wait there. Of course, your Denver Broncos, even with the loss at Seattle, that's not a bad loss. We have these aforementioned Seattle Seahawks. And a couple other teams that have snuck in there like San Diego. So that poll question is up at wcpo.com/flyingpigskin. And before we go, real quick, 2 stats that I told you I'd look up. 1, the Bengals are first in the NFL in points per game against. First. It's 11 points per game against. But here's the weird conundrum. They are 19th in the league in yards per game. So it's very much a bend, don't break.
There's no conundrum there. They're 3-0, and they're first in points allowed, or fewest points allowed.
Excuse me. It'll be interesting to watch. And then I'm losing my voice. It's so early. Other things. Excuse me. 4 concussions is usually when you draw the line.
Really?
4 concussions. That's a lot of the things I've seen on protocol.
Is that an NFL thing?
It's not.
Or
There's
a
no.
medical
There's
thing?
no official number from the NFL, but everything I read from some NFL reports to other reports, 4 seems to be the number where you just say you got to call it You got to call it. So that's something to watch for Vontaze in particular. Wes Welker is sort of the living example right now of being on the line.
Yeah.
He, of course, just returned yesterday. But you're walking a dangerous game there. And as we've seen, the Bengals don't need Burfict back right now. They don't need him. And the schedule...
They probably will against New England, in my opinion.
And even New England, they scored 16 points against the Oakland Raiders yesterday. So
yeah, but I watched some of that game.
Yeah.
That was a lot of Brady just, there was nothing deep, so he's just going, as long as he's got Gronkowski, he's fine.
Dink and dunk, dink and dunk.
All right, so that's up on WCPO.com. We'll have results of that next week.
Absolutely.
Mike, it was awfully good seeing you again, bringing your optimism and sunshine here to such an early part of the day. Good to see you.
Nice seeing you.
Maybe not next Sunday because they don't play, but in 2 weeks maybe we'll be back.
Is there a Pigskin? Is there a Pigskin next Monday?
I don't know. They don't tell. They just, I get.
Yes, there is.
Oh, Greg
there you go. We just found out.
Every Monday, 7 a.m.
Gotcha. All right, so we're all back here
Monday night games, Thursday night games, every Monday at 7 a.m.
And all of these shows are on demand on WCPO.com. So if you joined us midstream, you want to see the whole thing, it's right there for your downloading pleasure, only on WCPO.com. Thanks again.
The chairs are brought to us by the
I was
lovely
about
people.
to say that, Matt. Thanks again to Furniture Fair for providing the luxurious comfort that we sit in every week. It's good stuff. And Chris, thank you. We'll see you in a little bit. Catherine will be in here next week or the week after or whatever we show up again. And when we come back next time, I will make this prediction. The Bengals will be 3-0. Have a great week.